Whale. Here we are with Tom Beland for
Where?
At your house. And we're gonna be interviewing him today.
I'm in a corner just passed out. Dude, three.
Yay!
Yay! How's my house?
It's amazing. It's really
It is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool house.
Yes, it is. Extremely artsy.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself today.
What would you like to know?
About yourself.
That's what it's right there. I've been living here for 15 years from California, from Napa Valley, California, and moved here in '98. And I did a comic book called True Story Swear to God, the most romantic graphic novel ever penned outside of Jesus writing about Mary. Is he married? No, that's his mom. Gross! No! I'd be wrong. Dear mother.
So, Tom, how did you start working on the comic book industry?
I used to read a comic strip called The K Chronicles by Keith Knight, and kchronicles.com. And he was this guy out of Boston who was writing about things that happened in his life, and I always loved it. Like I would run to the cafe that would have the newspaper that carried his strip. And then one time I met him at a convention and said, I would love to do what you do for a living. And he said, so get off your ass and make comics. So I went back, I was working on a newspaper, and I made a comic about a roommate who bought a pet crab, and it died on him, and he went back to the pet store and demanded a new one because they sold him a sick crab, and they found out that the crab didn't die, it drowned because its tank was too deep. And so they took that comic strip, and the pet store blew it up and put it on the wall, and it said, "Don't be a Todd." So Todd was mad at me twice about this whole thing. But my boss said, "Did this really happen?" I said, "Yeah, it's true story, swear to God." I wrote that here, true story, swear to God. And he said, "That's a great name for a comic strip." And I wrote about my life, and eventually I wrote about meeting my wife, Lily, at a bus stop at Disney World. And I made a comic book about that. And I just would just do it. I would just make comic strips, and I would just make a comic book. And we put it out there, we printed it up and sold it, and that's how I kind of got into business. I have nothing wise to tell you about how to get into it. You just do it. You go like, I have pencil, paper, you make a lot of comics, and then you learn how to make a comic. Like you can make a lot of shitty food before you become a chef.
Experience.
Yeah. You can make a lot of shitty videos. On the way to becoming a big director. But you know what? If you don't know how to do something, it's going to come up. Like I tell my students, I teach cartooning out of this patio. And I tell my students when they're first there, and they go, "Well, I don't draw it very good compared to you." I say, "Oh God, no. Why would you think you're, no. Oh, you're not going to draw like me right now. No way. You're going to draw like right now. You're going to do just horrible drawings that don't look like anything because your brain has to understand how to make the hand move to make those lines that you want to make. Or to find words for your story, or to find whatever it is you're going to do. The music to go with your lyrics that you're writing. Everything's going to be horrible at first, and then you get into a groove and you understand it more, and then it becomes more fun than aggravating.
And what got you motivated and interested in the comic book world?
I've always read comics. My parents had cancer. When they died, comics was a chance. They died at home, so I would come home from school from 9th grade to 12th grade and see each parent like a pound by him. And so comics, to me, Spider-Man books gave me an hour and a half break from what was going on in my life. And if you're dealing with that kind of thing, my parents didn't die being assholes. Nobody was like, "Oh, thank God they're gone." You know, there's probably a lot of abused kids out there who will say, "I never loved my parents once," but I was the opposite. My dad loved cartooning, so when I got interested in cartooning, that made us a lot closer. And my mom was a wonderful cook, so when I cooked now for Lily, I am both my mom. So I'm lucky to have two things that remind me of each piece that's missing out of my life. But my motivation is that my mom used to come to me and say, make me laugh when she had a tough day. And to me, making comics is sort of like the make me laugh thing for people. You put it out there, and either they like it and laugh to it, or better luck next week. But I think it's that. I think it's the need to tell stories and to perform and to entertain. It's the only thing I know how to do. I'm totally screwed if this is working out.
It's working out fine. You're great at it.
I'm way up the river if this. Please buy the book.
It's pretty good, guys. You should. And how was your experience working with Marvel Comics?
Well, this is you have to understand. Spider-Man was a character I read since I was like 6 years old. For all those years, Spider-Man had a voice in my head of what he sounded like and how he thinks and stuff. And suddenly, I got a book in my hands where everything he's saying came out of my head. So I read Spider-Man in my voice now because I found inside of his head. And it's a really weird experience. It's bizarre when, like, I know everything in that book before I read it. I knew exactly what it was going to be and stuff. So it's really weird being on that end, like being on stage instead of in the audience. And I just didn't want to make a book where if I walk in the comic shop, people would be going, this totally sucks. You know, on Wednesdays, they buy their books, they go, 2 or 3 pages, nah, put it back. You know, there's, 18 rewrites. Put another down the toilet, the guy only gave me 3 pages to check it out, But I'm that same person. I got $20 in my pocket. Only a few of you guys come home with me. And if the art's not right, or if it doesn't read very well, I put it back in the shelf. I don't want to have that book and putting things down. So that's always my big concern when I book out. Please just like, when you drop your kids in school, right? When you drop your kid off for the first day, and you go, please just love my kid. Please just like my kid. Don't be a douche to my kid. I feel the same way when the book comes out. Like, you don't have to love my book. You have to love my kids. But just appreciate that my kid was here today. And, they got all dressed up for me. So, every book to me is like my little child. And True Story is about me and my wife, so it's a lot more personal.
And what other books besides Marvel have you done? We have that you did True Story. Have you done any more?
Yeah, I did a story for a book called Postcards, where the publisher took he went to a thrift store and bought a bunch of postcards. And they were filled out, and he would send it to one of us, and you had to write the story about the 2 people involved in this postcard. And mine said, like, whenever I go to this cafe, I'll always think of you or something like that. And I wrote about an old man who, he's outlived his wife who died, and he just kind of knows that he might be gone too pretty soon. He's made peace with it, and he's found with it. He's just kind of waiting for it to happen. And so he goes to this restaurant, the diner they had every day, and he leaves a note for the waitress who were always taking care of them. And leaves her a card saying, if you don't see me, thanks. And I'm going to be with my wife. So I did that. I did a story for, after 9/11, there was a book called 9/11 Emergency Relief for the Red Cross. And those stories were written like a week after 9/11. So they're incredibly raw. Where we got wrong numbers about how many people were killed, so my story says like 3,000, it might have been 3,000 or more. The numbers are a little bit off but when you read the book, you have to realize we wrote that stuff like a week after 9/11. It wasn't like a year later, we had all the facts with us and stuff. So that was an interesting book to work on. And I did some Simpson comics. I did 2 Simpson comics. And the Marvel comics. But the Marvel's weird. It's like growing up watching the Yankees, and all of a sudden you're on the
team.
We're in the, like, how did this happen? And please let me just get somebody out. Don't homer off me.
And what kind of process do you do when you're beginning your work? What's the methodology? Step on step of what you take.
I have a weird process. I don't start at the beginning. I don't think any writer in comics starts at the beginning. I think you kind of get an idea for the overall story. Like, like with Chica Carver, I know that creature is going to go into the lead. I don't know how, but I know how that, or I do know how, and that's the only scene in my head is that thing diving into her. But I don't know how it happens. I don't know where it's going to happen. And then I walk around San Juan and I see the memorial for it. I think someone was telling me about some underground tunnels that are supposed to go in there. So where she found the underground tunnels and where she found the laboratory, in that lab there's the creature. And it flies out and bonds. So you connect the dots along the way. And every time you connect the dot, you're as thrilled in that moment as when the reader's reading it and goes, oh, no way. You know, there's that moment where as the person creating it, you're able to connect this to this. And it's just that kind of a wire wrap. I never sit there and go, let's write the book. Because I can't. I'd be on page 3 going, who's that again? So what I do is I go to Starbucks for like 3 hours, like from 9 or 10 to noon or 1 o'clock. And I got a sketch pen and I just sketch out the pages. I don't write scripts, I sketch everything out. And then when I redraw it, the words are there and everything else is there. It probably takes longer to do it my way. Or maybe not, maybe I'm just slow, but I can't really let go of a book until I would buy it. You know? I think that's the best chance I got going for me. If I would put down, when True Story came out, my competition wasn't Spider-Man and Batman, because people are going to buy those books. People are going to buy Spider-Man no matter what. They're going to buy Batman. You'll never pull someone away from a Batman book. But my competition were books like Fables, and Why the Last Man Standing, and White Out by Greg Rucka, or Finder by Carla McNeil, books that I would pay for to read. So that's sort of my competition. So as long as I can make a book to where I might put down Finder, I might put down Fables that month, pick this one up, then I can let go of the book. But until then, I'm tinkering quite a bit with it.
And how do you think that comics as a medium has changed from where you began to the present day?
Everyone's got a gun. Every character's got a gun. It's striking me to see the Hulk with a gun. He's bulletproof. He doesn't need a gun. He can't shoot the Hulk. Why is he? I don't care how big the gun is. It's like the bigger the gun, the more hulky you're supposed to be. Like, yeah. And like Captain America, I understand he's a soldier, but why do you need a gun? Why does Captain America? He should be able to wing that shield and disarm anybody. Like, he doesn't throw the shield anymore as much as they used to. Do you think so? I can talk to them, can I? Or is it just me?
Yeah, you can talk to them.
There are people behind this camera that you can't see. It's like 40 people, and they're hot. No, but yeah, in my Captain America when I was growing up, here's the thing about comics. And I've debated this with people before, and I've even debated it with myself, because it kind of doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. When I read Spider-Man, I was a teenager going through a lot of shit. And Spider-Man was about a teenager in high school going through a lot of shit. He wasn't rich, and he wasn't a newspaper reporter. He was my age. So I could connect to Peter Parker. I could connect to Spider-Man because I was funny on the outside, but I go home and life wasn't the happiest. So as a teenager, that character was huge for me to get through my teen years. Now as I'm getting older, they're letting Peter Parker get older and get out of high school, get out of college, find a job, get married. The same things I was going through. At the time, it was very cool to see Spider-Man kind of growing with me and go through the same stuff. But then again, back here, there's another teenager going through his life who would love to find a character you can relate to, but I've taken that now because Spider-Man has to grow older with me. I always compare it to waves on the beach. You know, if you're a surfer and you get that one big wave, you enjoy it, you ride it out. But if that was the last wave, you would have all these other surfers going, dude, what the f***? You took the last wave. And I sometimes feel like we rob kids of having, and it's so huge. When you're going through tough, it's not easy for that age. I think girls got it way worse than guys do. We don't want to get our ass kicked. We're like physical, like, I'm gonna get my butt kicked by somebody today. Women are just psychological warfare. I don't know how we'll survive that at all. And so, to have a character that you can, just the fact that they're still in high school, you're like, oh my God, someone else is like that. I think the biggest difference now is that all the characters are older and they're kind of like grumpy old men now. Batman's just like, I had a kid, he's dead. You know, I lost a lot of Robins. You know, he's always burying Robins. Back when I was a kid, he was like, look at the giant penny. Or it was like Superman and Batman. Superman's going, I'm gonna marry Lois. You know, someone's always grabbing Lois from Superman. Yeah. This time it's me and Flash. Superman going, what? You know.
And do you have any tips for people that are interested in getting into the comic book industry?
It's so weird to see you read these like, how many days a week do you work on your art, and what's the most fabulous part of what you do?
It was if you had any tips for people that were that are trying to get into
Oh, just do it. Just do it and know that it's gonna suck at first. But make the stories. And then when you get better at it, go back to the stories that sucked and then remake them so they don't suck. They want to quit too quick. Like my students, I have a group of students, they're all girls who are in my 3 o'clock class. They're really good and they don't realize it. Girls don't realize how great, I told you earlier, girls don't realize A, how beautiful they are, and B, that they've got something cool about them. It's always like I don't know if it comes out of high school, of having to be a certain way. Like, we never have to apologize for how we are guys. We're just idiots. We're here for the day. We have no plans for the future. We're here in the now. But my God, I know so many women who are just amazing. They don't see that thing in them that makes them amazing. I have a picture in my office that a former student did for me. Every day I look at this picture, I see something new in it, and it's fascinating for me to look at. But I don't look at it for a long time because I don't want to spoil it, so like every now and then I glance at it and I'll see like, oh, there's the other side of the face. It's not a mask, it's the face. But when I tell her about this drawing, she's like, that was just me drooling. It's like, well, no, it's you making, even if you were like, if you made it still, it's something you made. And I wish women were able to embrace the compliment, I guess, more. It's already hard enough being a woman in this industry. When the compliment does come by your way, catch it. You know, you gotta just do the work. But there should be more women in the business.
There should.
Way too few. And there's some good ones. There's really good ones. But then again, the good ones might say, I'm good because I'm not doing that kind of work. I'm not working for the big two. You know? It's a weird thing when you work for those guys. It's cool, but you're not going to own anything that you make for them. So you come up with the next, cast of characters for a book called Watchmen, and they're going to own it. You won't own any of it. And if you can go in that deal going, okay, I'm cool with that. Just give me some good, they pay good money.
So Tom, what were some of the biggest challenges artistically and culturally when you moved from the US to Puerto Rico?
Did you see me make my cup of here? It's pretty cool.
Is that really cool?
The biggest challenges was the language, the food, the weather, humidity, mosquitoes.
Cockroaches.
Shit, what?
Cockroaches?
Oh, cockroach. I thought you said car. I had a cockroach fly in my face, land.
Read it. It's in the book.
I tell him that the last thing I saw that the cockroach do was this far from my face. It was like this. It was like going, yo! Like, it was MTV Raps. Yo! A little sideways action. But then time, it was like the Matrix, time just stood still. I was like, no, to grab me. It has like little claws on its legs. Somebody go this way, no. It just hangs on. It's just like this cockroach having a great time at the beach right here. And then it flung off and landed on the floor, and I knocked it out with a broom. And when it landed 4 stories to the ground. You ever see those movies when they push the alien over the railing?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God. And they go, let me go check the railing. And you go, don't go to the railing, you dumb. kind of did the same thing with the cockroach. And it was like on his back going like, I'm gonna kick your ass when you get up here, you son of a-" And also this cat jumped out and grabbed it. I'm. And it sounded like M&M's, peanut M&M's in peanut butter, or like cold Skittles in peanut butter, and like baby shit.
That does not sound great.
But the cat was loving it. The cat was like, check it out! Who's got 2 paws as rookie? Me. This cat.
You got saved by the cat.
I did, man. I was like, actually I was more like, thanks, God.
So Tom, we know that you're working on your new comic book called Chitacabra. Can you tell us a little bit about it and how you were inspired on it?
Well, okay. I had a tremor in my hand for a while, and because of that, I couldn't draw very well. My style was a little jittery. So I went through a depression. When we found out that it was my thyroid, we fixed it. But the depression kind of said, I kind of like it here, I'm going to stay a while. All you guys go away for a while, I'll stay here, I'm good. And so it kind of messed with me for a little bit. And I knew I wanted to try to write something different. I wanted to write something that was like non-fiction. Wait, it'd be fiction. This always fucks me up. Fiction is, because it's the work of fiction, so it's made up, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to write fiction. And originally it was about a boy who finds out that he comes from a long line of chupacabra people. It was such dog shit that I got like page 4 or 5. I'm like, it's just going nowhere. So I put it away. One of my students was this girl who was phenomenally beautiful. While at the same time she liked things like beetles, like those big beetles, and put them on her arm and have them crawl up.
Okay.
You know, really had like this dark side that was fascinating to study. And so one day I was at Starbucks, that's where I do all my writing. And I drew her, and I thought, I've never drawn like a lead character who was female. And so that kind of caught my eye. And so I took some of this girl's personality and some of my niece's personality, different nieces here and there, and I threw them all into this girl named Isabel. And I just kind of played with it a little bit. I experimented with this and that. Like I said, you find like one scene to write about, and then you find other scenes to connect them together to make a book. And this was the hardest thing I ever did in my life, because everything had to be made up. If it was the uncle, for instance, I decided the uncle was going to be a chef, which means I had to create the restaurants. And I'm horrible at buildings. I'm horrible with backgrounds. And anything man-made, I'm not that great at. So the restaurant looks like a Flintstone house, but it's my restaurant that I created. So it still stays within in the context of the backgrounds that are in the comic, anyways. And I had to make up the friends. I had to make her up, what she does, what she likes, what she doesn't like, what her friends are into. They all smoke pot, so it's a very pot-friendly book. But it's not like, it's not like, I don't treat pot like it's, hey, let's smoke and then stumble onto the crime scene, like, let's go eat 80 Taco Bells. It's just like, that's just something they happen to do. Almost like on that 70s show.
Oh, okay.
They never say, well, I'm so big. They don't have to say it. From all the smoking room, that's what they're not smoking cigarettes. So in my book, it's sort of like that same feeling. You notice that that's what they do, but it doesn't control the book. But for all the people that go into this girl, they all use that, and they're some of the best people in my life. So there's that, and there's not being confident in yourself, and she's gone through a lot of crap in her life, and continues to go through some bad stuff in this book. And suddenly you have this thing that's inside of you that's just nothing but a killing machine, and it will protect the host body at all costs. And so, how do you control something like that? How do you tame something like that, or how do you train it? And then I had to create the creature, and for the creature, I I just knew that I wanted it shadowy black. I didn't want any details. I wanted to see the fur over and over again. I wanted jet black. I think the book has a real Jeff Smith feel to it, as far as the cartooning. What I like about it is that the six people I sent a copy to read. The girls who were involved with Isabel's character, Lily's read it, and a couple of friends I had read it. And they all say the same thing. They all say, I want to take this little thing home with me and own it. But it would cut my head off. Yeah. It's like having the most dangerous thing on earth. And yet, it really does look adorable. The way it came out. And it's been a drop. It's completely my style. It's that ruby, thin, the thick brush stroke. And then when I get, there's a line I get from the nose, from this tip of the nose, down the snout, over the body, and then over here and around, and the tail. And that's all one brush stroke.
Okay.
And so when I nail that, it's kind of like I always picture a surfer getting off his board going, I killed that wave today. You know, I always feel like, boom, 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 boom. And the curl's the hardest part. When you get that, bang. It's Zorro, man. It's Chichi Rodriguez just in back of the holster. So I've had other cartoonists say, is that one line from there? What's the line there? And I'll tell them, they'll say, God, you bastard. You know, we always like, I love animators because they have to work fast and they don't think about what they're drawing. They're trying to capture whatever moment that is. And so when I see friends who make something like Mike Kunkel, who does Hair Bear and the Kid, when Mike does this spinning thing with his character, it's a little stuffed polar bear that this kid owns. When you sock it in the nose, it spins around, becomes this giant 9-foot super polar bear with cape and flies. But when he shows the movement of the toy spinning around, there's like 100 toys spinning around. It's beautiful movement. It's just gorgeous. So when he makes that kind of stuff, I'll write to him and say, you bastard, because I can't make that movement. But I noticed more so with this book than True Story, the creatures, the pictures of the creature always have me looking at one message on Facebook or email where they say, that line in the tail is gorgeous. That's like, they acknowledge that's a tough thing to get off. And when it's tiny, I do it. When it's really big, I do it. It's just a certain little hand movement that I practice for months.
It's like, dare.
So, but yeah, that's, I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you did.
I tend to go on for quite a while.
And so, Tom, in your comic True Story is Where We Got, it's about your life with your wife, Lily.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it for the people that haven't read it yet, that they should?
It's, Erotica Daily said it was one of the greatest. No. If you like your smut on toast, and who doesn't? It's romance from a guy's point of view, and it's not all happy. I think the fight scenes, the arguments are my favorite part to draw, really. I don't know. I made it for a True Story is basically a love letter that we decided to let everybody read. Ask.
In webcomics seems to be a new adventure, a new venue for comic writers and artists like Chris Hastings and Greg Rucka, just two pretty big names that we know. Would you ever consider venturing to that world to get more exposure with newer and younger audience?
If I knew how to do it, yeah. I'm just, I don't know if it's lazy or I just don't know this shit. When they talk about webcomics, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you should totally do a webcomic. I'm like, you really don't know what's up here. I'm barely making comics. I know Chica Comics is going to be available on Amazon to download. It is weird because so many people make comic books in this island. There's a lot of people doing it. I used to feel weird going to the comic shop because I felt like, I know it's people who have been really struggling with their comics and trying to get something going. Either they're not selling or the store won't carry their comic or, just bullshit stuff. And I come along and it seems like I kind of went, da-da-da, made a book, fling, yay, I'm writing for Marvel. And it's just not. Every book I've ever done, I finished it thinking, this could be the worst comic ever made in the history of comic books. Including caveman art. none of us have amazing faith in our own books, and I think everyone would say, I don't know why it sells. I don't know why Marvel wanted me to write for them. And even in that sense, it's only been a few books. It's not like I wrote a series for them. But when I go to the comic shop, I always feel like I'm a guy who like went pro. And there's like I'm the guy who's playing for the Yankees. There's a whole lot of people in that store who play baseball. They're going, how come this guy got to play for the Yankees? And I can't answer that. I can only say because I made 36 books that show my storytelling ability. And that's the one way you can get a job with Marvel and DC, is you make books that showcase your storytelling ability. We're not talking pictures of Spider-Man swinging at you and spinning the web in some awesome manner, or Superman lifting a building over his head, saving Lois. That isn't storytelling. That's picture making. And the best way you can get a job for these guys is to hook up with a writer. If you can't write, hook up with a writer. If you can't draw, find an artist. And I know it's tough to do, but if it means that much to you, it's not that much to ask for. You know, you sitting at home drawing pictures of Spider-Man in a notebook and saying, "Do you think I can get a job with Marvel doing this?" Well, no, because there's no such thing as a Marvel poster book. If they did, it would take the guys who are already drawing for them to make a poster book because they're marketable. But with my Marvel stuff, I had people tend to forget that I made 36 comics, including other duties like postcards, 9/11, and other little Sparks generators and other books that I was sent that I did for free for no money. You either wake up doing it or you don't. If you, it's the kind of gig where thousands of people want to get that gig for writing for Marvel, but they don't want to make their own books. But then I see people who make their own books, and I can tell with each issue they're getting closer and closer. There are guys out here who blow my mind comics-wise. David Alvarez is a chameleon. He can draw just like Hanna-Barbera, that style, and then switch over to Chuck Jones, vintage Chuck Jones, and then do his own style. My style will always look like it's me drawing it. It won't look like I'm somebody making Hanna-Barbera style. And Dave has no idea how impossible that shit is to do. He has no idea how tough it is to make that Singing Frog look like it's right out of the cartoon. Because if I did a Singing Frog, it looked like my version of that frog. It would be too stiff, and the arms would be too long, and I'd have to tell you that's the frog from that cartoon. Whereas David goes, bam, and you know what that is. And then he's drawing Pebbles and Bam Bam or Dino, and it looks just like, it's a whole different style of philosophy of cartooning. A Warner Brothers style and a Hanna-Barbera style. And he flips over there, oh, no problem.
And he has like his own style too.
Yeah, and he thinks it's like everyone does this. But no, you're really that good. I don't know why he's not doing a series for DC. Like a Wonder Woman series give him Teen Titans. You know? Quit doing Go. Let somebody have fun with it. You know?
And what do you think the comic scene here in Puerto Rico is at a standstill, or is it flourishing?
I think it's everywhere to standstill. I think in some cases, this isn't me poo-pooing DC Comics, because I love their movies. I love their animated movies. But their comics, wow, I need therapy after seeing what comes out from DC. So everything's just like, dead. Fucking dead. Yeah, still dead. And Marvel's kind of like, we've all taken acid. We're doing weird shit. We don't know what we're doing. But it's the dead part of DC. DC stands for dead comics, dead characters. It would be so great to see a David Alvarez Teen Titans. Something that's just the opposite of that. To give the consumer a break, some breathing room, between all the shit going on. It just seems so angry now. Everyone's got to and everyone has to be I've noticed more and more that the costumes are going away from comics. Like they're all dressing up in black now. There always have to be some kind of covert version of their costumes. give them the stupid costume back. Make them fun. Make it. I mean, comics are like $5. When I started buying comics, they were 15 cents. Back then, 15 cents, they were fun. They still had guns. They still had gangsters and stuff like that, but they were fun. Now it's, God, there's so many psychoanalyzing going on with characters, and it's just so bloody now. I've never seen it this bloody in comics ever. And yet, every year I keep telling myself, I've never seen it this bloody ever in comics. Every year.
It gets bloody.
Yeah, and characters I don't really know that well, like Sue Digby, Plastic Man's wife. When she was murdered, she was raped and murdered. That character's never done anything to justify that kind of a death. And to me, they are kind of real people in a way. You want to sit close to me now?
And Tom, you said before that you were giving classes right here. And what are the driving forces behind your teaching methodology to your students?
I want to buy comics and need some money. No, that's part of it. But I kind of resisted teaching because I'm not that great with kids. I get impatient, you know. But once I started teaching, they're kind of fun. It's kind of cool to see. There's a moment when they get it. Like you give a kid a pencil. They learn how to write their names, they're like grinding that pencil in the paper. But when you get a pencil to draw, you have to draw light and very loose and bring the character up. So it's very hard to get them to start drawing light because they literally don't understand the concept of using that pencil, that tool in that manner. So they keep drawing dark. But when they finally break loose from that, like my Saturday class, I have 3 girls. And they're very good. They draw loose now, they all get it. When you get in that point, it's almost cruise control. And then we do storytelling classes. I kind of like it. I kind of feel like Mr. Holmes wrote this.
And how has art and writing helped you share your experience and thoughts, options? And how has it helped with your students also?
Well, art to me has always been therapy. We just had my blood pressure checked, and my wife gave me this little speech about, Mia, he's going to tell you it's through the roof. I'm going to put you on some medications. Just be ready to hear that. And the doctor said, it's right on the nose. It's exactly where it should be. My wife nearly died. I couldn't believe it. And I think it's because I have an outlet through True Story and through Chiri Cabra to anything that's stressing me out, I can put it on the page and let it out. And that's so good when you have that thing, whether it's music and singing, or if it's writing, or if it's poetry, or whatever it is. When you have that outlet to just kind of go like, for a couple minutes, it's so helpful in your life. And I think these kids get it. I think they know that instead of doing something being told to do, like art, like these kids now, they don't have to be told to do it.
They just do it.
Yeah, I had a mother say, my son hasn't played his Game Boy in 3 days. He's been drawing. I still play Xbox like a crazy person. And so when she says that, my first thought is like, man, I didn't even stop playing video games. So they must really be liking this. But when they get it, I have a bunch of 5th graders at Perpetuo, and I call them the Goonies, and because they look just like a cast of the Goonies. And I can't remember their names at all, so I have nicknames for each one of them. I have like River Phoenix, and Four Eyes, and Judge from Top Chef. But I don't call them this in person, but it's how I remember it in my head, who's who. And there's like 6 kids in that class. 4 of them are really into making comics, where it's like an lesson, and they go off on their own, and they're doing panels now, and writing comics. So one guy gave me a book that he made like last weekend. He said, hey, I made a comic, here's for you. I said, that's how it should be always, until you're like out of high school. Make the book for you, and then give it to somebody. That's how I make girls. You make girls because you're drawing, and they start, they go, oh my god, what's that? And you go like, oh, well, you were sitting over there, that's kind of you. And I can... My nephews know all about this move now. They're all going like,
hey.
Start to see my drawings. It is, if you're shy, I was kind of shy when I was growing up. It's kind of funny, through teaching, you're able to relive a lot of those moments in your life. You know, I remember being so frustrated I would just throw my paper cuts around. And I have a rule in my class, no erasers, and you can throw the paper if you want to throw the paper, as long as you pick it up when class over. You gotta clean it up better. If you're so stressed out, there's something about tearing it out, just like, they kind of just like, oh yeah, just die. You bad idea, just die. Yeah. And when I see these kids just crumbling it up, they do it so slow, like it's evil plans type stuff. Like, ooh, you're gonna die so bad. There's something like, yeah. It's just like, yeah, it's those ring binders. They're like, pop. It's just, yeah. I love watching that because I've been there. I know it's, oh, you're getting that. Get that paper. Get that paper. Tell it who's boss. They just throw it away. And it's just afterwards they go like, then do it again. Draw it again. Draw it. Yeah, exactly. Dude, you read those questions. What's that about?
How many times a day do you draw? And what is the motivation behind it?
When I talk to you, you never sound like that. For that one, you can only talk to me on the phone like that. Hello, Tom. I was running in. Long time listener, first time caller. You remind me of Chris Farley. Remember that time you did? Remember that time when you did True Story? You made a word for the bus stop? Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I know I wrote that. Stupid. The first time I had to teach was just the worst nerd. I was the way over the top. I was like, who wants to learn cartoon today? The kids were like, we just had 8 hours of learning. You know, we were here because my parents literally shoved me into this room.
They were like, stay.
But now they wait in line. Now I get there and they're at that door. It is pretty cool. It's cool to see young people into what you do. When I'm at Starbucks, I can always tell there's a kid behind me. And usually it's like 5 feet behind me. And they get closer and closer and closer until you can hear this and here. They don't realize they're breathing loud, and I'll just keep drawing. And I kind of have a urge kind of like drawing going, what do you want? Scare them. I love scaring kids.
Well, Geek Whale, here you have it. Tom Beland.
Should we finish?
Yes.
Let me ask you some questions.
Okay.
Oh, James looked at it. If heaven exists, you find yourself at public gates, what do you want to hear God say to you when he opens the page?
Unlimited pancakes.
What?
Unlimited pancakes.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
You're dead and you can have it? Why are we tingling her butt so?
So we can get better audio.
Really? Oh, we're recording here too?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just seeing numbers here. I thought like we were shooting the butt countdown. Red wire, blue wire. No butt dies on my watch. Is something happy right now?
Yeah.
I totally thought I was just spinning you. I was like, oh my god, spinning it. So it's like, don't have like a meme of it. Hope you got Tumblr. Little sound effects. Woo!
It's okay, it's okay.
What was the question? Talking about?